Hi, 大家好，欢迎来 Welcome to Taiwan. Today we are in Taipei, having a chat with our German friend. And before we go, please, if you haven't subscribed yet and you're new, go to the subscription button, subscribe, like the video, help us share if you can. Also, to further support the channel, you can become a member. We have 10 prizes to give. Every month we'll have a raffle draw for 10 channel members to give prizes. So go there and be a member of the channel and you can have something to win every month. Thank you.
I'm Alex, I'm from Germany, and at the moment I work in the Research Institute as a researcher.
At a university or a company?
I work at Academia Sinica, which is the top Taiwanese research institute. So my current research is about plastic pollution. I started about almost 10 years ago with that topic here, because I find there's quite a lot of pollution in Taiwan. So when you go to the beaches, you see it's everywhere, the plastic debris along the beaches. So when I got into this topic and started more, and then I focused more on microplastics, on the small plastic pieces. And I did some studies around Taiwan on the beaches to see how much is there, where it's come from. We studied rivers. So that was my main research so far.
What do you think Taiwan needs to change to reduce this kind of pollution?
So over the years I have seen a lot of awareness about this issue. So that's a really good thing. So Taiwan, also many NGOs have done a lot of campaigns in Taiwan to raise awareness about environmental pollution, plastic pollution. There are policies implemented to try to reduce it, like single-use plastic. I mean, there's a ban on some certain plastic products in Taiwan. Like, for example, when you go to McDonald's, you don't get the plastic straw
bags,
anymore, or if you only when you ask. You can also see that some product packing has changed over the years. It's less plastic now. It's still a lot, but it's already slowly reducing. But everything happens at a very, very slow level in Taiwan. So the government doesn't do much actually to really push plastic reduction. They do a lot of investment at the moment in cleanups, so beach cleaning the beaches, but there's not much done in waste management actually to avoid this plastic trash issue. So that's lacking in Taiwan at the moment.
How long have you been in Taiwan?
I'm here since 14 years. I came in 2011.
Let's go back memory lane. Why do you choose to come to Taiwan?
That was kind of an accident. It was not really planned. I was just about to finish my PhD in Germany, and that was during a time where it was quite difficult to find jobs. It was the time when it was the crisis, the financial crisis in the European Union. And there was not much money, not much funding in universities, and I was kind of struggling what to do, where to go. And then a colleague suggested, oh, I know someone in Taiwan. He's looking for a postdoc in the university. And so then I applied and I got the position, and then I came to Taiwan.
Before all this situation, what did you know about Taiwan?
Actually, almost nothing. Didn't know much about Taiwan, actually. It was really like going just into the blue. I know that Taiwan exists and knew Taiwan from the media, from the ongoing conflict, China, Taiwan, these things. But about Taiwan itself, about the life and the culture and the people, I didn't know anything. I just came here.
So it's like going into the unknown.
I have been in China before, so I kind of expected it will be somehow similar like China, because China is very close. I mean, I didn't have much expectations about Taiwan, but I knew that Taiwan is kind of high-tech country, because they're famous for their computers and stuff. So I expected it's a bit more modern, more Western. I was actually a little bit disappointed in the beginning when I came that it's not that modern like I thought. I remember we were driving from the airport into Taipei, and at that time these big freeways didn't exist yet, so they still had these normal freeway and things. And I saw all the buildings in Taipei, and everything looked so old, kind of, old and kind of
Where am I going?
kind of shitty somehow. And I was kind of, what's Taiwan? I was a little bit disappointed, but then later I could see also the modern sides of Taiwan, like the MRT, for example, or if you then sometimes inside these buildings, it can be super modern inside. So then I realized, okay, maybe it's a bit both. You have this old side and the modern side here.
The modern side. Other than research, what else do you do?
So I do some blogging, and I'm active on social media, Facebook, Instagram, so where I share some maps or charts about Taiwan, about like data about Taiwan. On my blog I mostly write about weird things, not really weird, but a bit more specialized things about Taiwan, kind of experiences, or a bit more drifting into like data and science.
All his links will be in the description below. Go check it out. Working in an environment where most of the people around you speaks Chinese, how is it like working in that environment? Can you speak Chinese?
So when I came, I couldn't speak a word. Nothing. I tried to learn some Chinese, but it was difficult because I had to do it somehow besides my job. So there's not much time, and you need to dedicate quite a lot of time for learning Chinese. Luckily, in my environment, most people spoke English, so it was not really that difficult to communicate. But I also had the feeling that they don't really like to speak English. So there's kind of, even though they know it, especially in university setting and research setting, it's English as the main language. People kind of refuse, not really refuse, but they were kind of reluctant to speak English. Of course, they had to do it, they do it, but if they don't have to do it, they speak Chinese.
They speak Chinese.
I noticed that many people are just shy to speak. I think it's that maybe they just don't have much experience or practice, so they don't feel confident in talking English.
Could you maybe enlighten us what are some of the work ethic, cultural differences between Germany and Taiwan? And if there is anything Taiwanese could adapt, or you wish Germans could adapt from Taiwanese?
So in terms of work culture, I find in Taiwan there's a quite strong hierarchy. So you have the boss and then the little boss and then going further down the chain. And there's not much communication actually between these levels. So people usually communicate in one level. That's obviously, you can see in university, students are always together. Next level is the PhD students, they are together. There's already less communication between them. And the higher you go, the bigger the gaps get. So students are really afraid of talking to professors. In Germany it's totally different. It's much, at least in universities, it's much more, so this hierarchy is much flatter. So people are really, students talk to professors. It's much more exchange. So there's much more, it's more relaxed in Germany. And people are also more willing in Germany to talk or to present their opinions. So here I find a lot of students that just follow the opinion of the professor. So the professor thinks something that's the solution of a problem, the student will follow. The student will not really come and say, but I have another solution. In Germany you have it totally different. Students usually like to challenge professors. And I also noticed that here, because when I was a PhD student, it's very common in Germany that PhD students get into a fight with their supervisors because they start to develop different opinions about something. And it's many PhD students in the end break up with their supervisors because they're too different in their opinions. And both of them defend their opinions. In Taiwan, the PhD student usually always follows the professor. So kind of obeying the authority here.
What is the most difficult challenge that you had to overcome or yet to overcome here?
The rent you pay here in Taipei is similar to other major cities, like in Germany. Sometimes even higher than I would pay in Germany, which is insane because the salaries are so much lower here. But everything else I find it's still good, okay. Maybe general living costs are very low. You don't pay much for electricity, for water, for
Water,
gas,
yeah.
internet is
Utilities.
cheap. So once you kind of overcome the rent issue, life is actually pretty easy.
What is one or two things that Germans do differently?
So a big difference is, between Taiwanese and Germans is that Germans are more focused on the kind of closed relations. So it's very difficult to make friends in Germany because they have kind of set up their friend circle and then it stays. So it's difficult to get into these friend circles, or same for Germans. So everybody who moves to Germany or has to change towns.
14 years in, what has Taiwan taught you?
I think I've become quite Taiwanese in the meantime. Because when you live here and you do all these daily things, these really normal things, you're kind of into this. So for me, it doesn't feel like I am a foreigner or so. And also, I think my appearance has changed because I had very often funny situations where Taiwanese come to me and asking me in Chinese about directions. So I was wondering, you see I'm a foreigner, why do you come and ask me where the MRT station is or something like that, you know? But somehow I must look like someone from here already, I don't know. I think my lifestyle has changed a lot here. So when I go back to Germany, I realize I'm not German anymore. I don't have these German traits.
Traits like?
Yeah, I don't feel kind of so worried about things. So Germans have the tendency to be always worried about things. I feel like I'm more kind of let things go, or kind of you just float in Taiwan. This is I find you float around and you don't worry too much. But Germans are always kind of worried about the future. They always need some security, some insurance. I find you get a bit more relaxed here.
What part of Taiwanese culture do you find most fascinating?
I'm very fascinated by the temple culture, by all these temples and all these rituals and all these things that's going on, you know, burning incense and having these processions, and that's very interesting to me. I'm very fascinated about this. And every time I see these processions on the streets, I'm really fascinated how, because they block the streets, you know, sometimes they're super long, they block multiple intersections, and nobody's complaining, everybody's just waiting until they pass. You have these, on one side it's kind of modern society, and then you have this super old stuff. And it's just passing through the cities, through the streets, and nobody's disturbed or bothered by this. So that's actually a very nice part of the culture here, and I like it a lot.
What part of German culture would you like to introduce to Taiwanese?
Beer gardens, or outdoor eateries, outdoor cafes, all this kind of part of culture where you, also these shopping streets. So in Germany, I think in many parts of Europe, you have in the city center lots of streets that are blocked for traffic, only for pedestrians. There are huge pedestrian zones with shops. You have cafes, you can sit outside, you have restaurants, you can eat outside. I think you have something like this a bit in Taichung or in South Taiwan. It's a bit more common, but in Taipei it's almost impossible to find these places. Also these kind of shopping streets, these pedestrian areas. So this is something I really miss, and especially this beer garden culture. What we have, where you have huge parks, you sit outside, drink a beer, eat something in summer. That's something I wish Taiwan would have. I think it would improve the life quality in cities a lot.
If you have to change anything in Taiwan, what would it be?
Because Taiwan is, the good thing about Taiwan is it's an island, it's a defined space. So you can really control what comes in, what goes out of Taiwan. And Taiwan is relatively small. It's very easy to keep an eye on everything here. Taiwan would be actually an ideal place to implement a lot of sustainable techniques, a lot of environmental friendly things. For example, Taiwan could be ideal for much more electric mobility. Actually, I wish you would replace all these stinky gasoline-powered scooters with electric scooters. I think it would improve life quality so much, because it will improve air quality, noise pollution will go down. You could also push for more electric cars in Taiwan, because you don't drive far in Taiwan. I mean, what's the longest distance you can drive from north to south. It's so basically any electric car has enough range for Taiwan. So Taiwan is a good market for that. For plastic bottles, for example, we have in Germany a deposit system. So when you buy a bottle, you pay a small deposit, and then you can return the bottle, and you get the fee back. So the bottle will be sent to recycling.
Yeah.
This is some system that would be so easy to do in Taiwan, because you have so many convenience stores. And since Taiwan is an island, you can really control what kind of bottles exist here. There's no mixing up with other things. It would be so easy to do, but there's so many things from other countries that you can implement here and improve life. But I have the feeling the government is kind of lazy about that. So they are not improving much. Well,
Okay.
very, very slow. The government is, I think the issue is the politics here is very protective of Taiwan. So it's, for example, you see it already with work permits for foreigners. There's a very strict rules who can work in which field. So foreigners cannot work in every field. Same goes when you start a business. There are certain things you cannot do as a foreigner. It's protected to protect Taiwanese economy. There are also very high tariffs or tax for importing goods. That's why foreign products are so expensive in Taiwan, because there are high tax on them, just to protect local companies. So the government, I think, needs to open up much more to any kind of foreign talents, foreign workforce, foreign investments, foreign products, and not protect Taiwan too much, because it will be, you can already see it's, Taiwan is, compared to other countries, not very international. I mean, they're trying hard to be international, but it's not. You see that the moment you have to deal with government, or see it in university and research, everything is Chinese, everything is Chinese. There's hardly anything in English. It's improving slowly over the years, but still all the key information is in Chinese here. So that makes Taiwan very unattractive for foreigners to come actually and do something here. So the government must overcome this protecting of the country. That needs to open up much more, become really international.
Do you have anything else to tell Taiwanese people?
But actually something to the politicians here. Because I see now all these disputes in the parliament, this fighting, and they're working too much against each other. I think Taiwan is at a dangerous position at the moment, because we can see this fighting in the parliament, DPP against KMT, and everyone is against each other. But I think Taiwan must, or the politicians must unite and work together actually to protect Taiwan, because China is waiting. And the weaker the Taiwanese get themselves, with all this fighting about unnecessary things and all this blocking and kind of destroying each other, it gives China a big opportunity to influence Taiwan even more. So I think there must be much more unity in Taiwan towards protecting the country, towards the goal of really becoming free from Chinese influence. I think that's a very important thing for Taiwan.
Thank you very much for giving us your time and sharing your wonderful wisdom, and hope you continue to progress here in Taiwan.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Gansia ni sokan rugo yo si huan busi huan. Please leave a comment, and see you in my next video.